Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Hubbell Insight Data Monitoring Training webinar. My name is Shelley Kennick, and I'm the Marketing Events and Programs Coordinator with OneSource Distributors and your host for today's webinar. The presenter for today's webinar is Jim Dobrik. Jim is currently a Senior Application Engineer with Hubbell and has a primary responsibility of supporting and growing the Insight DM line. Jim brings 9 years of in-field experience, 2 years of hybrid smart vehicle training, 5 years R&D in the lighting and lighting controls industry, 3+ years as an applications engineer, along with a technical degree and continued education in business. He also provides technical support for all product lines across the industrial, commercial, residential, and premise markets. Before I hand the mic over to Jim, I just have a few items to discuss. I will be announcing the winner of the Yeti Tundra 35 cooler after the presentation. You must be present to win. I will be contacting the winner after the webinar to confirm shipping details. Immediately following the webinar, a survey will pop up on your screen. Please make sure to complete it so that we can use your feedback to improve for future webinars. Lastly, this webinar will be recorded. You will receive information to access the recording after the webinar. So without further ado, I'd like to kick things off by welcoming Jim Dobrik. Jim, over to you.
Thank you, Shelley. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jim Dobrik, Senior Applications Engineer here at Hubbell. So what I'm going to present to you today is our Insight Data Monitoring line. This data monitoring line is Hubbell's introduction into the IoT space for Hubbell and building automation space. So the slide you see here is an array of products that are currently offered inside the data monitoring line. We have our pin and sleeve and receptacle up in the top left-hand corners there. You see one being 240 volt, one being 480 volt. We have the 60 amp version. We also have the bottom one left there. That is a pin and sleeve to accommodate anything other or additional than 60 amps. So we can do 30 or 100 amp in an inline version. And in the current development process, we have a 30 and 100 being looked into to actually implement the technology inside the device as well. Moving on from the pin and sleeve, we would get into our smart power cables. Those can be configured in any way possible that the customer may need. So any plug-in connector that Hubbell has to offer, we can put on these particular products. They're offered in single phase and 3-phase as well. The bottom right-hand corner, that is our PG panel monitor. That is a single power meter that can do 3 single-phase circuits or 1 3-phase circuit. We have plenty of combinations available for those. We can order what's also called a BG meter. Now, the BG meter is a multi-circuit meter, so those meters do multi-circuits or full panel monitoring. Above that, in the center right there, is our environmental monitor. We have a few different flavors of environmental monitor. We have a couple battery-powered versions that are just ambient humidity and dew point with single probes or no probes at all. And then we have what you see there, our E306 model that takes 6 temperature ports all the way up to an E312 that takes 12 temperature ports. And in the center, you see our gateway. That is the device that all these devices communicate to get the information out into the building automation system or cloud-based software that we offer. That brings me to this slide here. So this data monitoring line has the communications of a wireless mesh network. So each gateway is capable of up to 150 nodes each. That is not a limitation to the actual network itself. The gateways can be multiple in the system, so we can zone them out. We can just keep adding additional. It's very easily scalable and configurable. We can add devices at any time. There's little to no commissioning, as long as the devices are within 30 meters of one another. As I mentioned, they are a self-healing mesh network, so just like Google Mesh in your home, the devices will communicate with one another. It is not like the Wi-Fi or Bluetooth that some are typically familiar with, so these can bounce the information off of one another rather than just to the gateway. So if there is a particular instance where, let's say, one of those products are down or a piece of equipment of some type needs servicing or a circuit goes down, they can work on that and it won't interrupt the data from any of the other pieces getting back to the gateway and out to the system that it's feeding the information into. Once the information is fed into the gateway feeds that out into its building management system or energy management system or to our Hubbell EMX cloud-based software. Now, the gateway does that by taking an average of 15 minutes of data that is collected from the devices there that you see on the left, and averaging that out and sending it up to the cloud, depending upon which protocol picked up above there on the right, which we offer 5 to 6 currently as EMX. That goes with our software, our cloud-based software. We have Modbus TCP/IP for the industrial realm. Same with SNMP, Ethernet IP. With the Ethernet IP, we have add-on profiles for Rockwell Factory Talk, so our devices do work with the Allen Bradley systems. We developed MT Connect for some customers that had some Mazak CNC machines. So we do custom protocols as well if something is needed for a customer. And then we have our BACnet MQTT coming available this year within the next month or so. In addition, as I mentioned before, we can work with Rockwell Factory Talk. We can also work with additional third-party softwares and devices. We have additional hub devices available for third-party integration as well. The types of data you're going to get fed out from the gateway in all of these devices up there in the top left are key performance indicators, are current, voltage, power, internal device temperature, which is actually strictly in the pin and sleeve. That is a patent that we have here at Hubbell, where we are able to embed the technology directly into the pin and sleeve. So you will get the temperature directly at the connection point. The environmental monitoring will give you ambient temperature, dew point, and humidity, as well as the utility billable grade metering. So all of our meters and products here are over 99% accurate. Are there any questions on the system so far? I'll try to ask some questions here as we go along through the slides. That way there's not too much confusion towards the end there. So if any questions so far on the system, please feel free to ask. Okay, I will move along to the next one. So moving on from the gateway into the types of software available. This software here comes on the gateway itself. So there's no fees, there's nothing involved as far as paying for the software. It is embedded firmware software inside the gateway. So the types of information you're going to get here is your internal network setup and settings. So whoever purchases the system, whoever's running and working with their IT department will go into this particular software inside the gateway and set up whatever network they need to get the system up and running and getting the information out to the cloud or to their billing management software. This is also where a customer will get firmware updates, see all the node monitoring lists that are available for the nodes being seen by the gateway. This is one way that we determine once it's set up and functioning to make sure that the gateway is seeing all the devices and that everything is within range that it's supposed to be in. Once everything checks out, you'll see all those system dashboards there on the bottom left. You'll see all nice green OK boxes, as well as all the nodes that you see on the right-hand side there. You can check the little column there under readings. You'll see a little blue gauge. Once you click that, you'll get the screen you see there in the center. That provides real-time data being shown out of the device at that very second. So this particular software will adjust within any 3 to 6 seconds of a change. So when I demo this software, what I do is I have a nice little heat gun or a space heater, and I switch from a high to a low setting. And you can actually watch those needles and those gauges and current on power and voltage. They all change within 3 to 6 seconds, as I said. Now, what this software does not do is it does not do any data trending. It does not do any node type of alerting for any problems or such that are set by a customer. It does not do custom reports. If a customer needs that type of information and is looking to have that given to them, then we point them into our data monitoring EMX software. So this is our cloud-based software. They do have yearly subscription fees. The fees are for strictly data transfer rates as well as cloud storage for the data. That is all that is for. It's nothing more than that. So they average, anywhere between $27 a year to, depending on some of the much larger full panel meters I've seen go up to about $200 a year. But from the general perspective that we get from most customers and clients, they tell us that that is very, very reasonable and no issues whatsoever. Major benefit is that this can be accessed from anywhere, especially in those industrial environments and manufacturing environments. Not everyone could be everywhere at the exact same time. So this gives you the possibility to go into an iPad or a cell phone or any tablet, as well as being home virtually, and log in with an email and password to access the information you see here on the screen. As I mentioned earlier, the data actually gets collected in the gateway over a 15-minute period and then sent to the EMX cloud. So what happens is once that data is collected, it feeds it in, and then you can go into the EMX software, look at your node list, click on the ones you want to take a peek at, and then go ahead and you'll see some renderings there on the left-hand side of what is our pin and sleeve, a power meter, an environmental monitor, and then depending upon which value inside that chart you choose, power, current, voltage, volt amps, phase angle, temperature, frequency, you'll get a little chart like you see there in the center. So there's a bunch of different options that we have available. Those can be changed and customized to bar graphs or however you want to display the data. You can also change the resolution there if you want to look at it every hour, 15 minutes, 3 hours, 3 days. You can look at that and change that there as well. You can change the date there. So if you want to go back and look at something historical, you can do that too. You can go ahead and click any one of those colored boxes that will uncheck a phase or a probe or anything like that. So you can narrow it down to one specific chart that you want to look at. And you can also take any one of those sections between timestamps, highlight them, and take a closer look at the data, and it will zoom in on those particular points. Beyond that, you can create custom dashboards. So if you don't want to look at the information in that way, you can go ahead and, like in the bottom right there, I have one at my desk that I have created, and I watch some modem temperatures and some voltages going into my demo kits. You can create it and have anything you want. You can pick any parameter that you'd like. It gets pretty granular. Same with any of the displays and charts as well. You can do that same type of information in the custom reports. So there are standard templates available that you can take a peek at once you're in there, and you can say, hey, that either works for me, or no, I want to look at something a little different. If you do the custom reporting, you can choose different values. There are far more values that are even given here in the charts that we add daily and weekly as they come up for customers. We just add a calculation into the software or a new algorithm and go ahead and make that an available option so the customer can get a report on that as well. Once the custom reports are set, you can have them sent to you via email. You can set your custom time frames. So if you want them every 3 days, every 5 days, every month, you can set that up any way you'd like. And one of the best features of the software is the node alerts. So the customers can go ahead and set high and low parameters. That way, if they see any issues, this can help with preventative maintenance or any damaging or lost downtime. So they'll get those messages via email or text message once the alert has crossed the threshold that they set on a high or low parameter. Any questions so far in the software? Moving on. I'll move into some applications and I'll make these pretty quick. So this right here is one for the industrial sector that we cover. You'll see a list of system capabilities. So the system capabilities are going to be fairly standard across the board for industrial, commercial, data centers, institutional, for the most part. Industrial has a few extra ones here, considering the equipment that are in the space and the types of failures and lost downtime that they can have. So the system capabilities we look for here in industrial are energy efficiency, failure prediction, temperature for environment, cost allocation, downtime prevention, machine tool learning, safety and security, power usage trends, lighting efficiency, and then incoming versus branch circuit and point of use analysis. I have a list of applications there in the center, but if you'd like to, it makes it a little bit simpler. I've done some colored dots there that match to a product in the product line offering. So we have our panel monitors, whether they're PG or BG. Our smart power cables, either SG or RG, those designations are strictly for single phase or 3-phase. We have pin and sleeve, as well as our environmental monitors. And if you look at the power distribution there, you can see we hit the service mains, main distribution panels, transformers, sub-panels, up to full panel monitoring. On the branch circuit level, we usually look at lighting, power circuits. HVAC RTUs is a real big one for a lot of different places across the board. And then dedicated equipment circuits as well. Point of use portable equipment, we do that with pin and sleeve and smart power cable. We have our point of use hardwired, so that is a conveyor belt or something like that in a processing plant or a packaging plant. We are also currently working on this technology being embedded into our 30 and 60 amp and 100 amp Insight disconnects as well. Currently, we just sidecar one of the single PG meters onto one of them, but we are working to put that inside, like I said. And then you have your environmental, that's usually in the open space or in some cabinets or anywhere near some of the HVAC ducts, just to make sure that the environment is not running too hot. Moving on to commercial, again, I said the system capabilities stay pretty much the same. They just lessen a little bit because there's a little less inside the commercial buildings. Some of the applications, again, the service mains, main distribution panels, all of those. Refrigeration comes up a lot in the commercial sector, so I work with a lot of energy service companies that do a lot of HVAC work, as well as cooling units for, let's say, storefronts and stuff like that. I've had a lot of success there with those companies going ahead and being able to get the data they needed, as well as replace the equipment that was there and run some different tests on them after they were installed with new ones to get some newer data to move on to their next project. Institutional. So again, energy efficiency, failure prediction, temperature cost allocation. Now, something that comes up in institutional are the data centers. So that we actually have a data center we're currently working with. What we don't show here for environmental on data centers is leak detection. That is something that we have new. It needs to be added to our slide deck. That is something that we've successfully done over the last couple of weeks. So that will be added to this very shortly. For the above floor sections where we put the little rope leak detectors around the edge of the room. A lot of times, inside the data center area of the institutional, that's where most of it comes from. But again, some do offices and classrooms, a lot of main panels and HVAC as well. And then for data centers in particular, again, panel mains, that hits every so often. It's usually the sub-panel inside the data room that they're looking at a couple of different circuits. And then the smart power cables and pinion sleeves are either underfloor or above floor, feeding the cabinets with the environmental monitors inside the cabinets. This slide here shows some of the support information we provide to our sales teams and customers. These are what we call solution sheets there off to the left and off to the right. You can see our website, which we actually have just updated with some better application information, and we will be adding weekly some newer support information as well there. And we provide all our sales teams to help anyone out with questions. We provide them what are called application slides. We give an application or problem for a particular vertical with a solution that we would offer, an example bill of material with cost, as well as a point of contact and who to go to. I'll open this up for any further questions that may have come up during the presentation. I appreciate all of your time and consideration of the product line, and I'm here to help along the way if any applications come up. So any questions, please let me know. Shelley, did you want to take it back over from here?
Sure, I'll do that. Thank you so much, Jim, for such a great presentation. I would like to announce the winner of the Yeti Tundra 35 cooler now. And the raffle prize winner is Carrie Nishida with Hawaii Electric Light Company. So congratulations. Carrie, I'll be sending you an email after the webinar to confirm your shipping information. Well, thank you so much to Hubbell, Jim. We really appreciate it. And to everyone for attending today's webinar. OneSource will be offering supplier training webinars every month, so be on the lookout for more information. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thanks for everybody for coming.